Hi, this is Dr. Darren Schmidt at the Nutritional Healing Center of Ann Arbor. And this video is about how to break into the chronic disease mechanism in the body. So the chronic disease mechanism is lactic acidosis, and there's two other names for it. Well, we got the lactic acid cycle, and another name for it is the Cori cycle. It's because it was discovered by a husband and wife team with the last name of Cori. And the third name is cachexia, the cachexia cycle. So cachexia is how cancer patients die. It's body death. And in the ancient Greek etymology of the word, or origin of the word, means bad habits. So it's bad habits that cause this to occur. I have other videos on this. I'm going to give you a quick review, and then I'm going to talk about each how to break into this, and there's three ways. But their quick review, here's a cell, it's burning sugar. The sugar is broken down to be used as a fuel in a process called glycolysis. And there's multiple waste products from this. There's like 7 or 8 waste products, but and there's two that are a bit more severe. One being lactate, the other one being acetate, and also other metabolites. And technically, there's no lactic acid being produced, but an excess of lactate is called lactic acidosis. So when there's too much lactate and acetate and other metabolites, those are high in the blood compared to oxygen, which is lower. So this makes arteries dilate, which causes capillary arterial dilation, stagnation, and slowness of the circulation. Then at the capillaries, they dilate, and the capillary beds get engorged with blood that is hypoxic or anoxic, meaning not enough oxygen, plus all this garbage in there. So right at the little tiny capillary beds, the cells die. So this goes on a microscopic scene, like a little tiny microscopic area. And if it happens in the muscles, when muscle cells die, they tighten up. That's called rigor mortis. So you can have a little bit of pain in your traps, and that could be lactic acidosis causing capillary engorgement, causing cell death, causing the muscles to tighten up, and then this chronic tension up here. So women get more like fibromyalgia, men get more chest pain, including heart. That's an example of lactic acidosis causing cell death in the muscles, but you can also have it in the brain, which causes basically all psychiatric issues: depression, grief, worry, doubt, fear, anxiety, violent thoughts, violent sexual thoughts. I've heard all these stories from all these patients just since March of 2016 is when I figured this out, and here it is, August 2016. Now my list of diseases and symptoms that this causes is now 82 long. I got 82 diseases and symptoms that the lactic acid cycle causes. Now these metabolites get cleaned out by the liver, and then the liver converts them back into sugar. So it goes 1, 2, 3. So here we go. How do you break into this? How do you stop lactic acid cycle? How do you stop cachexia? How do you stop chronic disease? This is it. Let me give you an analogy. The bubonic plague was caused by a bacillus, meaning a microorganism. But, you can talk about the rats that carried it and the mosquitoes and no sanitation. And people were sleeping, too close to the ground, so fleas would jump up on them. And there's all these other factors related to the bubonic plague. But it really came down to one thing, that's the bacillus. Well, it's the same thing with chronic disease. This is the one thing. If you can fix this thing, you fix basically all chronic disease, including diabetes, heart disease, cancer, chronic fatigue syndrome, and my list of 82 diseases and symptoms. So now we're gonna break into this 3 ways. Here's number 1. We're gonna break into it by fixing the liver up, and there's 2 ways to address that. One is adding in all 24 B vitamins. I've talked about this in other videos, and there's a few supplements that can accomplish this, but you can't find them at your health food store because the first supplements actually came from the 1930s when this was all figured out. And what I'm saying is not new at all. It was figured out in the 1920s through 1960, and then it was squashed by the FDA in the early 60s. And the one guy that really did most of the work, he died in 1967. Nobody's talked about this since he died. The other way to fix the liver is by correctly detoxifying it of heavy metals and chemicals. And we have a new product. It's fantastic. It's called Cyto Detox, DETOX, Cytodetox. And I have a guy with Parkinson's, and his shake is less. I have a woman with Lou Gehrig's disease, and she's physically stronger. And because the Cytodetox gets deep into the central nervous system, into the liver, into the lymphatics, all the cells. It cleans out all the cells. It's fantastic. I've been at this profession 19 years, and this by far is the best product I've ever seen for detoxing. So how do you fix the liver up? Step 1, supply all the B vitamins. Step 2 is correctly detoxifying it. So the second way to break into this lactic acid cycle is addressing the sugar. So you want to deplete the body of all sugar. You want to deplete the blood and deplete the liver of all the sugar. So that's what I wrote here. And so there's ways to do it. Step 1 is really low carb eating. And then moderate protein, because protein burns like sugar. So you don't want to do a high protein diet. And then step 3 is high fat. So you want to burn fat instead of sugar. So get the sugar and protein as low as possible and get the fat way up. Healthy fat. And then intermittent fasting helps get the sugar, the glucose in the blood down. So intermittent fasting, low carb, moderate protein gets the sugar down in the blood. Eating high fat gets the ketones up. You want your body burning ketones. I'm going to make another video on that here in a second, and I'll post that along with this one. So here I drew this graph right here. Sugar is high in the blood and decreasing when you do the right diet. It's not just what you eat, it's when you eat. That's where the intermittent fasting comes in. And then the ketones start low and then they come up. Once they cross, right here, you know you're burning fat, and that's good. And then you're not making any waste product. There's no lactate or acetate or other metabolites being made by the body because you're burning sugar. The sugar's been depleted and now you're burning fat. The brain turns on, you feel stronger, you can go further, better endurance, life is better, your hormones are stronger, everything's better when you're burning fat. Okay, the third way to break into the cachexia cycle, otherwise known as the lactic acid cycle, is by addressing the lactic acid and acetates, the lactates, the waste products of glycolysis. You can address them specifically. Now this is more symptomatic, if you will, because the real problem is with the liver and with the diet. So, but you can still address this. So what we're trying to do, we have the low oxygen, high lactate and acetate. You want to bring the lactate, acetate down, and or you want to raise the oxygen up. So here we have, to lower the lactate and acetate, you can take enzymes on an empty stomach. You can take apple cider vinegar. You can take baking soda, meaning just swallow baking soda with water. Those all bring the bad stuff down. Okay, now in order to raise oxygen, you could do this. You could take ozone therapy, hyperbaric oxygen chamber, deep breathing, and food-grade hydrogen peroxide. So in my career, I've had people talk about how miraculous these various things are. But the truth is, these aren't nearly as important as addressing the liver and the diet. But they're still helpful. So if you have cancer, you fix the liver, you fix your diet, and then you jump into the hyperbaric oxygen chamber or ozone therapy or all of these. And I know of people that got rid of their cancer just by doing baking soda. So it, lowers the metabolites. So my recommendation is do this last. You got to get the first 2 in, and you got to do those for the rest of your life, and you got to do them well. And I rarely address the number 3. I rarely do this one because this is not nearly as important as steps 1 and steps 2. So in summary, this is how you break into chronic disease. I don't care if it's migraines, fatigue, insomnia, osteoporosis, arthritis. The list goes on and on. I got 82 of them, 82 symptoms and diseases that cycle causes. So this, and if you're not breaking into this lactic acid cycle, then you're treating symptoms, and which is okay, but it's not the smartest thing to do when it comes to chronic disease. With chronic disease, you got to get to the cause, and the lactic acid cycle is the cause. And so share this video, and it's quite a fantastic discovery. I figured this out 5 months ago, and my practice has completely changed, and the way that I approach healthcare has completely changed, and I'm getting better results, and my patients are loving it because it makes sense. And once they apply it, they're starting to feel better, faster than ever before. I'm reversing conditions faster than ever before. And I have a woman she had lung cancer 2.5 years ago, diagnosed, and it metastasized to her brain. I treated it as if it was lactic acidosis, and we did some fasting and put her on the right supplements. And 4.5 months later, all the cancer was gone, confirmed at the University of Michigan Oncology Department. And it was primarily the diet that did it. It wasn't even the supplements. It's diet where you starve the cancer of sugar and you increase the ketones, and the ketones kill cancer. So there you go. That's it.